You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast, and this is show number 479 for Sunday the 12th of November 2023.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Janie.
Hello there, Michelle. How are we doing this week?
We are doing fabulosus. It's under 40 days to my Walt Disney World trip.
Wow.
Information's been trickled out bit by bit by those people over at Disney, and the excitement is building to the point of me now starting to think, I need to create a special outfit for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party.
Well, you've got to go look in the park, Michelle.
Well, I'm very lucky. I have got a very dear friend who just happens to be in the theme park at the same time as me. Not that I copied his holiday at all. And he has got one of those cricket machines.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's been able to print me some snowflakes with a Disney edge.
We're getting crafty then, Michelle.
We are. The skirts arrived today. I'm going to be sewing a bit of lace around the bottom because it's a little bit too short for my liking. It just about covers my bottom. So, my old pins aren't what they used to be. I'm an old dear now, so...
Oh, come on.
Well, we'll see. We'll see, my lovely. How are things with you?
Yeah, very, very busy. As we're recording, or I should say, as this is being released, I will have had a day at a tattoo parlour.
Ooh, whoop, whoop.
But not for me.
Boo, boo.
I know. Unless I kind of, can squeeze one in between. I don't know. No, I'm taking Molly for her Stitch tattoo, which is really sweet, actually, because it's got notes to... I mean, she loves Stitch, as I do. And the route she's taking with it has nods to my mum and dad, her grandma and granddad, who she loved dearly. So it's going to be a lovely tattoo to see when it's all done.
Excited to see the final settled picture.
Definitely.
Well, I've been doing a bit of redecoration. I have finally moved my Starbucks collection to the study, and I've been unpacking my little bits of Disneyness all over the house. So it's all looking very, very exciting in my study at the moment, which is a shame we don't do a video podcast because everybody could see the beautiful backdrop.
Hey, we'll never say never, Michelle.
Well, I don't know. It's a bit techie, is that for me, Jane?
I'm sure we could figure it out. I have techie people around me. Can't be that difficult.
We'll see. Anyway, let's crack on with a little bit of history.
Yeah, I've got 4 little bits of history actually this week. So we're talking 12th of November. We're going to go back to 1908. And this is the birth date for an animator who went by the name of Seamus Culhane, born in Ware, Massachusetts. Now, his Disney works included a classic sequence with Pluto and the crab in Hawaiian Holiday and the dwarf's Hi-Ho number in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But the interesting thing is he was the only animator who worked on all of the first 4 animated feature cartoons in history. So he did Snow White in 1937. He worked on Pinocchio in 1940, and he actually animated the fox and the cat who sold Pinocchio to the Pleasure Island coachman. He then worked on Max Fleischer's Gulliver's Travels in 1939 and Dave Fleischer's Mr. Bug Goes to Town in 1941. So it didn't work just for Disney, but I just thought it was interesting that those first 4 animated features, and he was a part of all 4 of them, which I thought was really interesting. Then we're going to go to 1946. I think we probably mentioned this before, but I think it always deserves a mention. But this was the release of Disney's Song of the South. It debuted at the Fox Theatre in Atlanta, Georgia, and of course it was based on the books by Joel Chandler Harris. And it was Walt's first kind of delve into live action filmmaking, although obviously it does have some animated sequences in there, but it was kind of that first touching his toe in the water of live action stuff. Obviously, we all know about Song of the South, and I think it's just worth mentioning that, we've got some classic songs, which I know not always allowed to talk about now, but Zippity Doo Dah and Everybody's Got a Laughing Place. And obviously James Baskett he did get an Academy Honorary Award for his portrayal of Uncle Remus, and which made him the first African American man to win any kind of Oscar. So I know it can be a bit controversial, but as we've said many times before, it still needs to be recognised and his achievement recognised as well.
Mm.
We're then going to make a massive jump. We're going to go all the way to 2018. This is a sad one, 2018. This saw the passing away of Stan Lee. He was at the grand age of 95. Now, Stan Lee, for those who aren't familiar with their comic book history, worked for Marvel Comics. He was their creative leader for over 2 decades. He was there when it very first started and went from being a very small little comic house into this massive multimedia corporation that we now know and love. He became a Disney legend in 2017, and he is famous for the fact that he made cameo appearances in virtually, I think, every Marvel film. And I know that they'd already recorded some ahead of time, so that he was actually able to appear in some Marvel films after he'd actually passed away, which I think is quite telling of the impact that he actually had on that particular genre of movie making and the comics as well. He also, which I didn't realise, he was a voice in Big Hero 6.
Mm-hmm.
He also made a cameo appearance in the Three Stooges wedding guest in the Disney film The Princess Diaries. Number 2, sorry, I should say. So yeah, it's a couple of other facts that I didn't know about until today.
Can I just say, Jane, 2018, it seems like last week.
I know, it's scary, isn't it?
That is unreal to think it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, we'll wait for this next one then. 2019, this was the launch of Disney Plus.
No!
Yeah. Now, we didn't get it over here in the UK until the following year. We got it in about March, I think. But this was the launch in the US, Canada, and the Netherlands. I'm never quite sure why it was Canada, US, and the Netherlands. But anyway, that's who it was, yeah. So lots of things debuted that day, including things like The Mandalorian. So, yeah, 4 years ago, 2019. Seems like we've had it forever, doesn't it?
Well, it doesn't. It's getting to the point at the moment for me where I'm watching it less and less, and I'm kind of thinking, is it an expense that I really don't need to be paying out for?
I must admit, Michelle, we have had similar conversations, and I think we have to kind of acknowledge that there's the actors and the directors and the writer strikes that have happened, which will have put a little bit of a hold, shall we say, on certain things getting released. I was only listening earlier on to, it was actually the Warner Brothers financial quarterly phone call, and then followed the Disney one as well. And they did actually make reference to the fact that they'd had to hold off releasing things because they know they're going to run out of content going forward. So there's that thing of where you'd have maybe a glut of things that would come out. Everything's starting to get spread out because they haven't got that new stuff to go back to. So, but yeah, it's an interesting one, and it's, I think it'll be a little while before most of the streaming services kind of work their way out of this little glitch.
True. Right, moving on then. So, Janie.
Yes, Michelle.
Very excited at the moment. I wonder why.
It's not because you've got a holiday coming up, is it, by any chance, Michelle?
Well, there is the holiday, but I also absolutely adore Christmas. It is truly, for me, one of the most magical times of the year where I can regress into being my inner child, and if I have a Disney trip at the same time, it just makes it like a cherry on the cake, and it really does make me feel
It's a wonderful combination, isn't it? Disney and Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to go as early as the beginning of December, because it kicks off the season in such a beautiful way, and you can get your merch and you can get your spirit jersey and you can get your popcorn bucket and start getting the maximum amount of benefit for it. But because I work in education, I can't do that. So I go before Christmas for the sort of like lead up to it. But then Christmas is over and I can't really wear the spirit jersey. I can't do anything. It's really bizarre. So I'm working my way through the 2022 stock, and I have in front of me something I was given last year for Christmas. And by the time I got home on Christmas Eve, it kind of was a bit late.
Oh, okay.
Jane. Disneyland, I am visualising a Christmas fantasy parade. It's going to go on all show now. It won't shut up. Have you shut up?
I feel like
I told you to shut up.
Do you remember that programme named That Tune?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in an episode of that now.
I know. I love this. I'm so grateful to my friends Tommy and Lena Allison who picked it up for me and brought it to Las Vegas for me last Christmas.
Of course,
and it is such a cute popcorn bucket. Well, they are releasing a new one for this year at the Magic Kingdom. Now, it's virtually the same design apart from its colourish. The Mickey on top last year was gold. This year is red. The actual main mechanism, the sort of barrel of it, is gold. Last year it was red.
Oh, okay, got you.
And it has a holly design all the way round, and then it has bits cut out, and inside it has this rotation of Disney characters that go around when the music box is playing, and they've brought it up to date with a different backdrop through each little vignette. So the question is on, am I going to be able to fit it in my case? Am I going to pay the $28? But it doesn't play, obviously, Disneyland's Christmas Fantasy Parade music.
No.
Jingle bells!
Oh, well, you're all right then, aren't you?
I know, I am so excited. I keep wanting to take it into work and play it for the kids at school, but they won't have a clue what I'm on about with Christmas Fantasy Parade, but I might have to educate them and share the video from YouTube's.
Well, I think it would only be the decent thing to do, Michelle. I think, we need to get the word out there and get these children brainwashed. I mean, educated at a very young age.
Yeah. Obviously, the $28 you pay does come with a full tub of popcorn. And if you actually have the bucket in the popcorn bucket filled with popcorn, you'll literally get such a massive amount. Whereas if you don't want it in the bucket, well, when I've seen it in the park before, you just get even a small carton, or they fill up soda juice, sort of like cups.
Yeah.
So, not great. Not to Michelle's satisfaction. Still not heard about the cookie stroll over at Epcot, where you go around 5 different locations where you can purchase a cookie, and then you get a reward on the completion of your card. However, there is the details out about Olaf's Holiday Tradition Expedition Scavenger Hunt. I'm so lucky that they've not put that into alliteration like they do most of things.
Yeah, I think you'd be falling over it otherwise, wouldn't you?
Just a bit, because it's hard enough to say all of that lot anyway. OHTESH is the way forward.
What is it about us Disney fans and our little acronyms? Because we can't do everything, can we, by the full name? We have to do it by the capital letter variation of it.
Well, that's because Disney makes some of these damn titles so damn long. Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor.
Yeah, combination of being too long and too much of a tongue twister.
Yeah, who actually calls Guardians its proper attraction name?
Yeah, true, very true.
Anyway, many eons ago, I told you about the scavenger hunt.
You did, yes. Go back
It is purchasable from select merchandise locations such as Creations and World Traveller. It's $9.99 plus tax. I'd just like them to make it an even $10 with the tax included. It'd be so much easier.
It would be, wouldn't it, really? Yeah.
And as you go around, you get these little stickers and you mark the tradition that Olaf has found in each pavilion. So it's one of those lovely things that you can tie in with going round and hearing the storytellers and visiting the decorations in each part of Epcot World Showcase, which is amazing. And then when you have enjoyed the scavenger hunt, and you don't even have to do it in one day, you can space it over a full break if you like. If you take that to either Disney Traders, Creation Shop or World Traveller, you will redeem your map in exchange for a gift worth melting for. Very exciting.
I don't suppose we know what the gift is yet, do we?
Not as yet. And it's going to be available for redemption up to the 30th of December 2023, or while the surprise still lasts in stock.
Right, nice. So hopefully, Michelle, you will be able to experience the surprise in person.
I really hope so, because I think it might be something I might do, but if it looks a really naff, cheap, tacky, plasticky piece of thing that's just going to go in the landfill, which is very, very bad, kids. Don't put plastic in the landfill.
No.
I might just save the $10 and buy more cookies.
Fair enough.
So as of recording today, we are recording on the 9th of November in preparation for the release on the 12th. Tomorrow will mark the day of the Adventureland Treehouse opening up at Disneyland, and this is inspired by Walt Disney's Swiss Family Robinson. And the reimagined Adventureland Treehouse over in Disneyland Park is going to pay tribute to the original treehouse Walt Disney and his Imagineers built all the way back in 1962, and it was originally built in honour of the movie Swiss Family Robinson.
Yeah, I think it's great that it's going back to what it was originally. I love that idea.
Some of the signage looks absolutely beautiful. There's a little video that you can go and watch on the Disney Parks blog, and it gives you a little bit of a tour around at night, and everything just seems to pop and come to life and look fantastic.
Yeah, I must admit, I think I've seen that video as well. It just looked amazing at night time.
Yeah. I need a trip to Disneyland, Janie.
One day.
I do have a one-day park ticket, so, I just have to save for the flight and the other 5 days.
Yeah.
And the hotel, and the food, and the merchandise.
Yeah. Okay. But never say never, eh?
Never say never. All things I'm not very good at the moment is saving.
Are any of us?
Well, I keep booking all these trips.
Well, and when Disney, entice you with emails and new things and popcorn buckets, etc., it's hardly surprising.
True indeed. I'm trying to be good and still haven't bought a Spirit jersey, so I'm doing well. Right, so we have a main feature on this week's show, do we not, Miss Jane?
We do indeed, yes.
So we've been thinking a little bit about us being super hyper Disney nerdy geeks.
Are we?
Well, I'd like to sort of say we like to know and enjoy Disney at a different level to most other people, because not only do we want to go and experience it, but we want to know the backstory, we want to know the full details, we want to know if there's anything hidden, little sort of like Easter eggs that we can enjoy without spoiling it.
Yeah.
And one of the things, everyone's going to scream at me in a moment because they all know what it is, I love a good ride evac.
Yeah, now you see, you've been very lucky over the years to have a few decent evacs, haven't you?
I have, and I must admit, the park we're going to be talking about today, which is Epcot, seems to have been the main park where I have had quite a few experiences.
And can I just say, I'm very jealous, because I've never had an evac. Never. So I don't know whether that makes me lucky or unlucky, depending on your point of view, I suppose.
True. But it is so fantastic. I know you missed your entire ride, but it then starts with sometimes the lights come on, the vehicle stops, sometimes maybe abruptly. But then as the lights come on, you get to see the little bit of magic behind. And if you walked off, oh my word, you sometimes get to go backstage. You sometimes have to walk very carefully so not to fall off the track or anything. It's just the height of Disney nerdism.
Well, it is, isn't it? Because I think for us that are purveyors of the Disney parks, that ability to see what goes on behind the scenes is as fascinating for us as the actual ride itself.
So I'm going to take you on an attraction I don't believe you've yet been on in its current incarnation, which is Frozen Ever After.
Yes, please.
You'd love to go on it, I imagine?
Yes, please. Yeah, I would.
I have fortunately, never had a complete ride breakdown on this vehicle. And to be honest, I think a water evac is particularly exciting for me because it's like, oh my word, there will be some backstageage. I have to go as they evacuate me.
Yes, exactly. I must admit, I've got Frozen Ever Afters on my list of ones to do as well because, well, two reasons. One, for what you just said, Michelle, but also because it used to be Maelstrom.
Yeah.
And I want to know whether there's anything that I would see behind the scenes that I go, oh, that's from Maelstrom. Yeah.
I have been on the attraction when quite a few of the animatronics weren't quite right. So I've had issues with Elsa not moving arms or anything like that, but I haven't actually had it where the ride has stopped moving. So maybe next trip. The next one, as I'm going along in alphabetical order, Grand Fiesta Tour starring the Three Caballeros.
Yeah, well, I suppose this is that kind of the same again, isn't it? Because it's a water ride, how are they going to get you off it? I think that's always the possibility. Although I'm not quite sure there's anything much to see on it because it's all one level and it's,
I imagine there's like secret little doorways that you can go out of once you get off the boat, because there isn't a massive gap either side of the boat once you go sort of past the volcano part.
Yeah.
So the ideal place to break down would be in front of that volcano bit where you literally have to paddle out of it. But I imagine because of the water projection system that they use, that it's a very rare occurrence that you would have that kind of issue.
Yeah, it doesn't strike me as a ride system that would cause issues as not on a regular basis. I think it would be an unusual occurrence.
Yeah, agreed. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Now, I know you've not experienced this
I
yet.
haven't, no.
But I would imagine this is going to be quite a complex evac to go on.
Yes.
Because you've got the initial launch system and then you are rotating and moving on a track, which at some points does get to be quite a height. Now, I imagine that there is a plan in place to evac people if the ride ever breaks down, but I've never heard of it actually physically breaking down. Now, if you've heard different, please let me know.
Well, I think it's always interesting when you've got a ride like Guardians and you can compare it to, say, Space Mountain, somewhere that you're in the dark. So I think for us Disney nerds, it's that element of being able to see the inside of something with the lights on. That aspect of it as well. And I'm fascinated by the systems that they must have in place, because there must be safety systems in place so that should things start to go wrong, that things don't get launched, or that, there is momentum that will take vehicles back to a certain point and all that type of thing. But I think it would be the intrigue of seeing that show building with all the lights on, like it is if you're lucky enough to get evac of Space Mountain.
Yeah, because obviously it has height restrictions, and also if you are a wheelchair user, you must be able to transfer from that wheelchair or ECV as well. So you're sort of thinking, well, if it stops at a high place, is it going to be the mechanism that they use over at Space Mountain where they just release the brake and you just twirl round the attraction using gravity? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Please get in touch if you know anything more.
Yeah, because obviously they're going to want to make life as easy as possible if they have got to get people off the ride, and you don't know the abilities of the people that are going to be on at any one time, so you need to make it as easy as possible, don't you?
Talk to me about Journey into Imagination with Figment, Jane.
Oh, I like Journey into Imagination. Well, do I like Journey into Imagination? I do like Journey into Imagination, but I preferred the original incarnation, and I'm a little bit like Frozen Ever After. I'd want to get evac because I'd want them to take me behind the scenes, because I'd want to be able to see if I could see any homages to the original incarnation.
Well,
what do you know?
Can you imagine, Jane, if it broke down into that little sort of jackpot wheel and you were constantly being sprayed with skunk smell? As much as we tell our head it's coffee, at some point you might start to feel sick if you were stuck at that part of the attraction.
Well, there would be that, but you'd like to think that if it was a complete come to a stop, we've got an evac, that all systems would like that would switch off and lights would come on, etc.
True.
So I suppose there's a difference between being evac'd and being stuck.
Yeah. A few years ago, we did a backstage Epcot tour, and they did actually take us up into the pyramid, the glass pyramid,
Okay,
onto the first floor, which is now the DVC lounge.
Yes, yeah.
And they did still have that rainbow tunnel up
Yes, I know. It's such a shame it's up there. It's like, oh, because I remember going through that and everything.
there. So near but so far.
Yeah.
Living with the land, do you want a little walk through the greenhouses?
Yeah, because I figure that's a great way to kind of get a behind the scenes, like, the seeds tour.
Without paying
Kind of thing.
$35.
Yeah. So I'm not sure whether you could, like, jig that one, but yeah.
Well, put it this way, if you're going to break down in Living with the Land, you're not going to starve to death, are you?
No, this is very true. Plenty of greenery to munch on.
Oh, I'm sorry, Disney. While you're keeping me captive here, throw me a banana.
But again, I think with all of these, it's that element of being able to, like you say, if you've been lucky enough to do a behind the scenes tour anyway, you have an appreciation for the complexities that go into some of these rides. So whilst this is a relatively simple ride, floating around, and I can't see there being much cause for an evac, I think any opportunity on these type of things to be able to see behind the scenes is what sparks our interest.
Yeah. And while we're discussing Living with the Land, 24th of November, Glimmering Greenhouses, their Christmas ride makeover starts. So excited!
Nice.
So excited. Moving on. Mission Space.
Yeah, well, as I've never been on it and never have any intention to go on it, I wouldn't want to be evac because I would never be on it in the first place.
Can I suggest, Janie, that on your next Walt Disney World trip, you go on it, but go on the gentle version, because I won't do the scary, spinny, vomit-inducing headache, G-Force one. But the other one is really pleasant, and you really get that feeling of going up into space, and there's some beautiful visuals, and I really do think that would be exciting. But to have it evac'd, well, it's just going to be the same of getting on and off the spinning machine. So it's not really going to be one that I'd want to be bothered with.
I don't know what the mechanism is, so it's a bit difficult for me to comment.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let's move on to Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Remind me, you've done this in France, haven't you?
I have done it in France, and as far as I know, it's pretty much a carbon copy.
Pretty much.
So, I mean, it's all one level, so getting off it wouldn't be particularly exciting. There's going to be no circuitous route off it or anything like that, I wouldn't have thought. It'd be cool to see everything and the lights on, like all of these rides.
Yeah. I've not been evac'd in Walt Disney World, but I was in Disneyland Paris.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, it was really cool. We sort of suddenly stopped and all the lights came on, and then eventually cast members came round, and they were really particular where we walked.
Oh, okay.
Imagine getting broken down under that heat lamp bit. That would not be nice.
Be a bit toasty.
A bit toasty. Seas with Nemo and Friends, that's going to be pretty boring, because all you'll do is get out of your clamshell.
Oh, and just walk it rather than move it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Soaring?
Yeah, well, it's kind of the same though, isn't it? Because if you're stuck and they're just going to bring you down, aren't they? And then tell you to walk off. Yeah.
Yeah. Spaceship Earth, I have had quite a few stops where we've stopped for like 10-15 minutes and then they've eventually got it going. But wouldn't it be awesome to stop at the top and have to walk all the way down with the lights on?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, it's that classic, it's a ride in the dark, therefore you're going to get the lights on. What can you actually see? What does it really look like? I'm probably the same as you, Michelle. Maybe not as long as a 15-minute stop, but I know we've had a few occasions, which you do expect when obviously people with disabilities are getting on and off, etc. But yeah, we've had a few occasions where it's like you sit there and you kind of like, a couple of minutes go by and think, oh, okay. Yeah. And then a few more minutes and you start looking at each other going, right, are we waiting for somebody to say something? And then just as you think someone's going to say something, it starts up again and goes, But yeah, I agree with you. Get up the top and then have to walk down. Really cool.
Yeah. Last but not least, Test Track. And this wins the award for the attraction I've broken down on the most.
Really? How many times have you been broken down here?
Do you know, I want to say, when it was in its first incarnation, I think we were on 2. And I've had it 3 times now on its current incarnation. And it is super cool each time we were inside in the dark bit, I wouldn't want to be outside where it's hotter than the surface of the sun. And they turn all the lights on and you have a look at what looks really cool with all dark and blue lights, and you realise it's just a bit of chipboard with some LEDs on. It kind of spoils the illusion a little.
Yeah, black light is very good that way. It kind of hides a lot of crimes.
Yeah. Right. Where have you been broken down on? Where would you like your evac to be? Let us know. info@disneydreamgirls.com. You can also look at our website, disneydreamgirls.com. Find us on Instagram @disdreamgirls. But until next time, it's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.